and then trying to understand how these two domains really interact. And then one of the key lessons is that the change is a product of external and internal, right? The two kind of drive the change. And then if the external circumstances cannot be changed, in other words, it's like dead stop, something out of your control, then you have to adjust internally. Do something internally, and then as a result, it will change the balance of energies. And all of a sudden, your situation will change, right? That's one. But if the internal conflict cannot be resolved, it's so strong, right? Something which you cannot be changed anymore without some major damages, then you must change your external environment. Move, change your job, do something to alleviate the situation immediately, right? So this internal external is interesting because it gives you a tool to look at something in two different ways, right? And comes to that's lunchtime. Let me just do one more. Actually, if you could promote one more page. One more. I'm skipping through this one. So I'm just going to kind of finish it with a modern perspective on this whole topic. Because there was an ancient fool, a lot of modern minds, and actually great minds, looked at it and still look at it in today's world, which is very, really inspiring to me. Einstein, to my knowledge, did not study I Ching, but he has a quote which has been quoted a lot, different sources, which I find to be very relevant. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift, right? So intuition is something which is often tempered on the modern kind of view of technology and information and stuff like that. But then Carl Jung, you're probably all familiar with heard of Carl Jung. He's a student of Freud. He's a genius psychologist, really kind of revolutionized the world of modern psychology in the 20th century. He did study I Ching extensively. Not only he studied, he used it as one of the main tools to validate his new theories. One of them is theory of synchronicity. There's a lot on the topic, but what he said is this: I Ching is the intuitive technique for grasping the total situation, which is so characteristic of ancient China. Unlike Greek-trained Western mind, the Chinese mind does not aim at grasping details for their own sake, but at a view which sees the detail as a part of the whole. So he's saying, so the China, and I think it's East Asia in general, the view of the world is much more holistic. There are studies been done to prove that, actually, like academic studies. Many people tend to grasp the picture at large and then drill into details. Western mind, which is really the precursor of the Western science, is much more detail-oriented, like to really take the issue to its components and understand the details. So as a result, we often lose the big picture. So, or for a while, it's not like you always lose, but you can see detail before you see the big picture. So the Jung see the I Ching as an intuitive technique for helping us grasp the big picture, right? That's the modern view of the I Ching. And then here, this is the book I used the most for my studies. It's kind of the application of the I Ching in group dynamics, understanding how societies and groups function, and how you use I Ching to kind of help to gain this insight. You can read this later, but the takeaway from this is that we may not like the word divination, fortune telling, but we do it every day, all the time. For example, market forecasting is divination, nothing else, because nobody ever can predict what's going to happen to the market. We use unbelievable technologies. I work in finance, I know. Nevertheless, nobody knows what's going to happen. So it's divination in the formal sense, meaning you try to forecast, crystal ball the event based on certain characteristics, right? What's interesting though, in this process, human factor is really not accounted for implicitly. It's kind of explicitly. It's implicit in that, like in the sense like markets, like human mind kind of drives it, but nobody ever uses human factor as one of the drivers of the events. And the I Ching does. That's what makes it so interesting. It's a method. Includes the I Ching includes an extra element, one that is often the deciding factor. This is the element of the possibilities and practicalities of human development. So maybe I'll leave it on that note to set the kind of context for why this tool is not just a superstition from past times, but a framework which actually helps us understand ourselves in the modern times a little better. So on this, I'd like to thank you for coming. We're out of time. The books are in this deck at the end if you're interested to read about Jung, I Ching, stuff like that. And my contact email is on the front page.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.